game for NASCAR. Charlotte Motor Speedway, located about 20 miles northeast of the Queen City. One driver will be crowned king of the ROVAL, the half road course, half oval track. Oh, and it's a cut race. That means the bottom 4 drivers at day's end are out of the championship chase. Yep, the pressure is on.
Welcome to NASCAR Countdown to Green, presented by Sonic, as we get ready to go racing.
It's what sports is all about, rising to the occasion when the game is on the line. Put that drama in front of a home crowd at a venue that is unlike anything the drivers see all year, and you have the makings of something potentially wild. And we are giving you a front row seat for it at the Mobil 1 Peacock Pit Box. Welcome inside the ROVAL for Countdown to Green, presented by Sonic, with drivers Kyle Petty and Dale Jarrett on the first Elimination Sunday of these NASCAR playoffs. Kyle, drivers have described this track and this weekend as sketchy. Is that the correct adjective, and why?
You are channeling Clint Boyer. They put a fan sign. They're going to put a fan sign out front that says, "It's sketchy, man," so you can have your photo taken with it. I'm telling you, it's crazy. I think there's so much up in the air right now. It is a cutoff race. We're going to see different strategies. We're going to see guys miss corners and miss chicanes and have to serve a penalty while the race is going on. And while all that's going on, we're going to talk about stage points, because there's guys that have to make it. We're going to talk about comers and goers and guys that get cut today. It's going to be a sad day for 4 guys.
Yeah, when you've heard drivers talk about this all week, the anticipation of it, knowing that it's an Elimination Sunday at one of the most different and difficult tracks that they face. You add 94, 95-degree temperatures here this afternoon, and this place becomes even more difficult. You know, pressure, I believe, has always been self-induced. It's a matter of what you put on yourself. So if you're feeling a lot of pressure today, it's probably because you didn't perform as well as you needed to in the previous 2 races.
Great point.
Now you've got all of that here today in the most difficult setting.
It feels a little warmer than 94 or 95. Maybe
it
instead
like
of
Vegas.
Sketchy, it should be sweaty. Midsummer in late September, that's what it feels like here in Charlotte. Hot, humid conditions on tap for today's race. Yeah, those temperatures going to push well into the 90s. Let's take a look at what's on the menu, presented by Sonic. After winning the first 2 playoff races, Martin Truex Jr. is trying to sweep the opening round today. And it's now or never for those near the cut line to advance. For them, each pass for position could be the one that keeps them in the title race. William Byron is well aware of that. He holds the final spot to advance, but the 21-year-old from Charlotte, doing everything right so far, he's starting from the pole. Entering today's race, Truex, Kevin Harvick, and Kyle Busch have advanced to the second round, leaving 9 spots to be decided. At the bottom of the standings is Southern 500 champ Erik Jones, who faces a must-win situation after a brutal 2 weeks.
Erik Jones complaining of a stuck throttle.
Locked out of gear.
He is stuck in second gear.
Going to give him a very, very poor finish.
Can't get out of here. The only thing I know to do is pit. It's
That'd be a huge blow.
Yeah.
We gotta go to the garage.
Garage. Oh, man. So now they are in must-win situation to advance into the next round of the playoffs.
After the race, we find out from NASCAR he had a problem in post-race inspection. He's disqualified. He gets last place position.
Took me a while to process it.
He did nothing wrong as the driver.
You reset, then you go on, and then you figure out what you got to do to make it right.
So there's one way he's going to make it to the next round. Go win the race.
So for Erik Jones, the playoffs in his role have been great. The driver's done everything asked for him. The car has not cooperated, Eric. So how do we get through today and get to Dover still in the playoffs?
Well, it's going to take a lot. You know, I think a win is really what it's going to take today. The Craftsman Camry's been a little bit off on speed, but I think we've got some good strategy plays in mind to get us at least up front. And I think, you know, if you can be up front here, you're gonna be in contention and have a shot. So, need to go out and be up there and be in contention to win and get ourselves in a spot that we can get to the next round.
How was practice yesterday in terms of getting the car where you could hustle it if you needed to, speed when you needed it?
Well, it's tough here. It's always a balance. You know, the oval is kind of there, and then you also have to be good in the road course section and then the 2 chicanes. So there's a lot of different things you really need your car to do. I thought we were a little off to really some of the really good guys that were really good in the infield road course, and we were losing some time there. Our teammate Martin found some stuff there at the end before they had to change a motor. So we kind of went to some of the stuff they had, and hopefully that's going to play well for us today. Martin's a good road course racer. I watched some film last night trying to do my part, but at the end of the day, you gotta hope things can kind of fall your way.
Doing everything he can do. We'll see how it goes for him with the Clint Boyer story. Here's Kelly.
Yeah, and that story for Clint Boyer is just 4 points or 4 spots on track. Clint, who's got his son here, Cash, who's going to be introducing him later. We'll look forward to that. But Clint, yeah, I know, we're in for something. You've described this track as sketchy and treacherous. So how do you approach it while you're fighting for your playoff life?
I think those are fine assessments to this ROVAL, but you know, you got to look at this as an opportunity. We need an opportunity. When you're out, right, you got to look for a racetrack and an opportunity, and that is this ROVAL for us. You start out with unloading a fast race car, and Mike and all the guys have done that for me. All 4 of our Stewart-Haas Ford Mustangs have been good, but my you know, Rush Truck Center Cummins engine you know, car has been exceptional. It's done everything that we need to do so far. You know, we've qualified good. We have that track position we all talk about. We all know is important when you come to these road courses, but you also know in the back of your mind something's going to happen. Caution's going to come out. It's going to split the stages, and that's where the problem lies. You know, we've got to use that as an opportunity. We got to capitalize. When you're needing to gain ground, you can't afford for the cars that are around us to be able to capitalize on you with stage points. They can't get those 4 or 5. The Chiefs are playing right here. I heard something happen, but back to those
squirrel
points. I need to be able to capitalize on the opportunity to get some stage points, catch up, you know, and then race them forward at the end. Plenty of racing's going to happen. We learned a lot in that Xfinity race yesterday. Those restarts are wild. You know, once that caution comes out, you know that turn 1's deadly. It's there. But guess what? There's a lot of opportunities to make mistakes on this racetrack. Turn 3 is very, very treacherous. Turn 5 is way sketchy. We've seen a lot of cars off over there. Turn 8 is very important, leading into that wild back chicane. A lot of cars are making mistakes in that chicane. A lot of cars are making mistakes in the front. You can't afford to make mistakes in our situation. So the driver's got to do his job. I know the boys got the car set on kill, and as long as things go well in this Chiefs game right here, I think the day will be grand in a whole scheme of things, whether it be them or me.
All right, well, Clint Boyer, sketchy, treacherous, but he's got good track position to start this one, Chris Stuck. He qualified 5th, and I think he gets to move up at least 1 spot.
And that was a classic Clint Boyer interview, a little bit of everything. Dale, both drivers we just heard from in jeopardy of elimination, but it seems like the two, Eric Jones and Clint Boyer, are moving in 2 very different directions.
Yeah, completely different directions. And unfortunately for Eric Jones, as Dave pointed out, he's done his job in the 2 races, but things happen. And you do this as a team, and when things happen, everybody goes about it. He knows he has to go win the race, figure out some way to do that. And it's probably, listening to him, it's going to be kind of a crapshoot at the end. Clint Boyer, the one thing about when you have a sketchy ROVAL, if you will, in Clint's words, you got to have a good race car, and he's got that. So he has half the battle there. He's just got to do his job.
Well, what I like about, there's 2 drivers with 2 totally separate agendas, and there's also 14 other drivers with separate agendas trying to get points and trying to win this race and trying to move on in the playoffs. That's exactly what we talked about. So many strategies. And those 2 guys walked us all the way around this racetrack and all the trouble spots. The only part they didn't mention was NASCAR 1, NASCAR 2, NASCAR 3, and NASCAR 4. They understand the banking. They just don't understand the road course or the ROVAL part completely.
Plus 24 other drivers not in the playoffs who are in the field trying to win the race. So a lot of factors today. Coming up on Countdown to Green, one of the biggest names in open wheel racing. Doesn't normally hang out at NASCAR races, but he is today, and you will hear from him. Plus, he's the youngest in the playoffs. How did he get here, and who does he have to thank? The big reveal when we go behind the driver. And we'll revisit the madness of last year's wild finish with the guys who lived it. It's all here on the way on NBC. Countdown to Green is brought to you by Sonic. This is how you Sonic.
My track, my roots. Take me home. My home track would have to be Concord Motorsports Park off 601 there. Bandoleros, go-karts, legends. Is there anything else? Maybe a foot race once or twice. That's where it all happened. You know, I went back there recently and got chills because this is when it all started.
Yeah.
9 years old.
Huh. Is there a special memory of their winning race, a championship, anything like that stands out?
Yeah, that was the day I thought I killed my dad.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we were testing and we had the cone set up and they were out there on the track and I didn't go around the cone. I ran over the cone and him in a go-kart. No. He was good, though. He's still alive. For us growing up, it was my dad and I at the racetrack, my mom and my sister at the basketball courts. And at the end of the day, we'd all come back together to the dinner table and talk about our performances. She'd win MVP and I'd win a race, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, what I got from that was just how competitive a family they have, first and foremost, but the smile that it brought to his face when he talked about competing over there, winning races, winning championships, and fortunately not hurting his dad when he ran over him.
Yeah, hoops and horsepower. He still races legend cars right here at Charlotte on Tuesday nights. There are 6 drivers from North Carolina in today's field, including pole sitter William Byron. 3 years ago, he was graduating high school, just 24 miles away from where we sit right now. He got a relatively late start in racing. How did he make the climb so quickly? The answer behind the driver.
So to get to the level that you're at, there's so many people kind of along the way that build you up. Who comes to mind to help you along to get to driving the Cup Series?
Yeah, the name that comes to mind the most is probably Dennis Lambert. He was my legend car crew chief and really took me under his wing. He has a shop out in Indian Trail. He took care of my cars and took me to every race.
What's it like when you're so young to have someone like that kind of as a mentor, or maybe just having someone in your corner?
The confidence as a driver is key, so you got to have the confidence to kind of go out there and do what you need to do. And he was always there kind of coaching me. It was tough at the beginning. He didn't really want to work with me because I was so fresh and so clean. I had no races under my belt. And it took a little bit of time, but he kind of developed me as a driver.
Did he turn out?
Hey, what's up? Good to see you, bud. Nice to see you. That's awesome.
So I'll flip it real quick. You've worked with so many different race car drivers. He didn't have a lot of experience, kind of off my racing a little bit. What is it about him? I mean, he's so fast, so good.
I mean, he just picked it up right away. He always had speed in the car. You know, usually as a crew chief, you know, normally the crew chiefs can't drive the car, but I can do that a little bit, and he's the only one that I couldn't ever just like, well, let me get in there and show you how it's done then.
You knew then he was going to be pretty good.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm going to pick on William here, right? Soft-spoken, polite kid. What was your first opinion?
He first come over to my shop. He walked in and he had a notepad and a pen. So he was there to take notes. So I was like, okay, this is a little different. But he takes notes, and as you guys know, I mean, he really studies on what he's doing and learns from it.
I don't think I was even too red where I hit 59.7, you know? Yeah.
What's it been like watching him, everything he gets in, right? I mean, wins, contends for championships.
Awesome job. I mean, it's amazing. I was down there in Homestead whenever he won the Xfinity Championship.
The 19-year-old rookie phenom, William Byron, is the Xfinity Series champion.
Probably one of the coolest things.
He was one of the first guys to the car after when I did the burnout and kind of jumped out of the car, so that was pretty special.
I can't believe it. Wow.
I mean, races become battles, but you learn a lot about life along the way. What did it mean just to spend time together?
There's a really clear memory when we went up to New York. So we hoping to win, like, hopefully 4 out of 5 or something like that. We were like, okay, we got to win this race. And I just remember him defending me when we crashed with the leader or something. The guy chopped me off. Dennis is out there, and I can see him off turn 2, just like yelling at the official to keep me out front. So I just remember those moments and how he was there for me.
Didn't know he'd seen me over there arguing, but maybe that didn't work out so well that time.
Somebody's got to fight for him, right?
That's right, and I was there ready to do that.
Great stuff.
And on Friday, another proud moment. Dennis Lambert celebrating with his former student after Byron won the pole for today's race. We now check in with 2 guys who will call today's race. Driver Dale Earnhardt Jr., crew chief Steve Letarte. Steve, the 21-year-old, will lead the field today.
Yeah, pretty remarkable what he's done already in his young racing career. The playoff rookie will lead the field to green, and in a high-pressure situation, the last driver currently in up points, only 2 points above the cut line at a very chaotic racetrack. There'll be pressure on William as well as all the different playoff drivers.
Yeah, one of the things that surprised me this year about William was at Sonoma. I was at that race to watch him lead and get a lot of points throughout the day. He did really good starting up front and taking control of that first stage, and it just really curtailed from there on out. And I thought that was a high-pressure situation that he handled really nicely at a very difficult racetrack. Now we're at, I think, the most challenging racetrack on the circuit, and we're in the playoffs, and he's on the bubble. We're at a cutoff race. I don't know that the pressure gets any tougher right now than if he were racing for the championship in Homestead. So this is going to be an interesting day for William Byron. This is going to say a lot about this man's character, what he can do today, and
he's out there against some of the best of the best. Well, at only 21, he has to have pretty tough character to work with Chad Knaus. So much success with Jimmie Johnson. He's going to expect a lot out of his young driver, but it seems like as this season has progressed, that relationship, that bond has strengthened. And when I listen to them over the radio, working through issues, working through practice, even this round, a couple flat tires, but they've recovered. I think they're going to need a little of that recovery type attitude today. Yeah, I was a little concerned as well as how that pairing would work out. You know, Chad's only known Jimmie Johnson for all these years, and Jimmie has a certain style, and Chad's getting this rookie driver. But, you know, with rookie drivers or young drivers like William, that veteran crew chief can mold William. And William seems to be a guy that wants to learn, that wants to absorb information. And he's going to believe anything Chad tells him with Chad's resume. So maybe that was exactly what Chad Knaus needed. It seems to be bearing some fruit here late in the season as we're going into these playoffs. Well, Chris, he has the best starting spot, but only one of many drivers who have the pressure on today to try to advance in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be wild. By the way, Byron and Knaus went karting to a go-kart track on Monday. Remember, Byron's a college student, too. Monday's homework day. So multitasking already. Of course, from young drivers making their mark to legends making a cameo. Rutledge Wood is here. He's been hanging out with fans and a famous friend, Rut.
That's right. That famous friend is none other than the official pace car driver, Mario Andretti. He's here. He's going to be climbing into that Camry coming up. We're going to talk to him coming up shortly.
Reagan, and you're watching NASCAR on NBC 11 Alive.
All day, be safe, 10 weeks, no mistakes. Let's go get them.
Performing under pressure is what we live for.
He's going to punch his ticket into round number 2 of the playoffs.
Things don't go your way, this could be the end.
Huge playoff implications here.
It's do or die time. Pressure just makes it that much better.
We're going to have a side-by-side race to the checkered flag.
You either perform or you're out.
For all of the latest on NASCAR esports, including iRacing and the NASCAR Heat Pro League, visit enascar.com. You can watch live races, get schedules and standings, and find out how you can get involved.
Martin Truex Jr. has the momentum once again at the very start of the playoff. Martin Truex Jr. wins at Vegas. A pass to the second round of the playoffs. Did he bring his broom? Because he's about to sweep at Richmond.
Back-to-back victories for this 19 hot rod team. Come on.
2 races, 2 wins.
They're riding the wave right now.
This is just freaking unbelievable. So we came here to get bonus points, and damn sure we did that.
Well, it's been a fantastic round of 16 for Martin Truex Jr. so far. All right, let's be honest. Coming into the playoffs, did you envision that you guys were capable of maybe sweeping the first round of the playoffs?
Honestly, I did. I mean, I felt that good about our team and what we've been doing. You know, this series is difficult. A lot needs to go your way. So, you know, things have gone the way we needed them to the last few weeks, and our cars have been fast, and we've been able to take advantage of it. So, it's been a little bit of a rough weekend here, but you know, got to come from the back. Hopefully we can at least find some bonus points in there somewhere.
All right, let's talk about that. How big is the challenge coming from the back, and what worries you the most with all the chaos we've seen at the ROVAL this weekend, starting in the very back?
Really, honestly, nothing's worrying me right now. I'm feeling pretty good. I know our car is pretty good, and you know, we'll just have to see if we can pick our way through there. Hopefully get on the right strategy at some point, jump some guys. But I'm looking forward to having some fun today. I think I love road racing, and you know, this is definitely a little different than most road courses as we've seen. But I think if you can be mistake-free and just not get in anyone else's trouble, you know, I think we'll be able to get our way up there.
When you got 2 wins in the bank and you've already advanced to the next round, there's no need to worry. That's why Martin Truex Jr. feels pretty good, Dave.
I love Joey Logano's post-qualifying comments. It seems like every time we bring a car here, somebody crashes. Okay, it's going to happen today. How do you have it not be you?
Well, you just hope you're in the right place at the right time. You know, a lot of, you know, you control what you can't control, right? So we have good track position to start. Hopefully we can maintain that track position. That's one way to stay out of the wrecks. And, you know, I think we have the speed in our car to do that. We were pretty good in the first couple practices. We got a little off final practice. We adjusted a lot of things back to where we were. So I feel confident we're going to be all right today. And, you know, the nice part is that we can race pretty aggressively. You know, I feel like we're in a pretty decent spot after the first couple races. We're not locked. There's a chance, but it'd have to be a perfect storm.
Charlotte hasn't seen weather like this time of year in a long time. How do you battle the heat today, Joey?
I'm refreshed. I'm refreshed. Honestly, you hydrate all week. You prepare for this. I work out outside all the time. This is what we're used to. So it shouldn't be a big deal for me. I feel ready. They don't really give me much to be ready inside the car. I'm gonna have an ice pack on my chest. That'll be nice. But outside of that, I just have to tough it out inside the Shell Pennzoil Ford.
All right, the tough reigning champ ready for the ROVAL.
Alex Bowman qualified his number 88 car on the front row, but unfortunately it was truly a last-minute crash in practice that has sent him into a backup car. And now, Alex, you'll have the challenge of starting from the rear, all while trying to make it to the next round of the playoffs. How much track position do you think you can make up on track? How much will you be relying on your crew chief to do it in the pits?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be tough. This is a really tough racetrack to pass, but nobody to blame but myself. Just messed up. So I hate that I put us in this position. I'm really proud of my team for doing a good job preparing the backup car. That car should be really good. We ran it here last year, so just got to go out and do my job. Track position is going to be tough, but my pit crew is one of the best in the business. Greg's really good at calling races, so hopefully pit strategy will get us up there. I've been sick all weekend, so hopefully I'll just stop screwing up and have a good day.
We keep talking about this record heat here in Charlotte, and on top of it, for you to be feeling under the weather, how much bigger does that challenge become today?
It is what it is. It's we just got to go out there and do our best. Definitely not feeling 100%, but that's just part of it. Everybody has to deal with that stuff. Unfortunately, it's 95 degrees outside, but we'll make it happen.
All right, Alex Bowman, he's got 2 points to make up on that playoff cut line.
Kyle, with 30 seconds left in practice, he throws away essentially that front row spot. Is he out?
Okay, I look at those 3 guys, and I think Truex can make some personal history by winning 3 in a row and sweeping the first round.
Yep.
Joey needs to get back on track. This guy, he said last week after Richmond that Austin Dillon had a silver spoon. Austin Dillon corrected him, said it's a spork. Stick a spork in this kid, okay? It's over with for him. I think that accident, the high spot for Alex Bowman this week was qualifying on the outside of the pole. The low spot was that wreck, and that takes him out of the playoffs.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just more than I believe they can overcome. Not having this car out on the track whatsoever, I just believe there's more. He's up against the best of the best in trying to make this 12 and get to the next round. Don't see it happening today.
It is a story we will watch, and somewhere around this track, Rutledge Wood is smiling ear to ear. Let's show you why.
Honorary pace car driver is a big deal for anybody, but it's an honor when that pace car driver is Mario Andretti. What a cool thing. Are you excited about getting to run around the ROVAL a little bit?
Of course. Of course. Look at this. I mean, this is awesome. This is going to be a great event.
We're so happy you could be here. I know you saw Joseph Newgarden run around Friday in an Indy car. What do you think? Could we do the double here? And would you be willing to give a shot in your 2-seater?
Why not? Why not? I think this actually could work well. I think this is a perfect scenario for it.
Yeah. Because when you watched that and you saw him go around, you looked at it a totally different way than the stock car guys do. What is it that you think the ROVAL would be great for IndyCar also?
Well, you know what? If the stock cars get around, obviously they're much bigger and so forth. The Indy cars will manage it, believe me. And I was watching Joseph go around. I mean, the car looked good. And when I first got a chance of it, you always look back, it's inside an oval. But you know what? There's rhythm to it. The corners and the little bit of banking and so forth. So, again, and even have elevation. Can you imagine that? So, yeah, it's quite interesting. So, you can stretch your legs, obviously, because you got a long straight, which would mean really good braking for the chicane back, in the back stretch. So, I think this has got some quality to it. So, I'd love to see that, quite honestly. I think it'd be beneficial for all of us. I think the fans will love it.
I do too. And if you bring the 2-seater, can I get a ride?
You got it.
Unbelievable. Mario Andretti, honorary pace car driver today.
And he received a standing ovation today at the drivers' meeting. Last year's race on the ROVAL ended with one of the craziest final laps in NASCAR history. Should we expect more drama today? A look back and some predictions when we return. Countdown to Green is brought to you by Sonic. This is how you Sonic. NASCAR's playoffs are on. Today is the first elimination race, and it's a home game. Charlotte Motor Speedway, located about 20 miles northeast of a very humid and hazy Queen City. The ROVAL is half road course, half oval track. Pressure is on the bottom 4 drivers. When the day ends, so to their title dreams. And if we are seeing anything like last year, look out.
Anytime the drivers are stressed out or don't like something, usually the fans love it.
We need to make up 6 points and then we'll be in.
Oh, an aggressive move. Is this going to work?
That pass, Bowman over Elliott puts him in.
We have to fight our asses off today.
Keselowski, Larson, both into the wall.
I knew I was in bad shape, so I kind of was, I guess you can say, giving up.
Up to R9. Maybe not. The leaders are wrecking.
This pass right here allows Kyle Larson to move on.
Jiminy Christmas.
A different kind of track than you'll usually see, with a whole different kind of vocabulary. Words like turtles or curbs and chicane. Well, chicane she saw, she conquered. The Mobil 1 Peacock Pit Box overlooking Turn 1. That was Calamity Corner in this race last year. Welcome back to Countdown to Green, presented by Sonic. Dale, has there been a race all year with more uncertainty?
No, and there won't be for the rest of the year, because this is an elimination race, and these drivers, there's not enough experience here, and the track is different than what it was last year. So there's more challenges, and they found this to be a huge challenge last year. So I don't know that we can top that finish, but something crazy is going to happen here that's going to affect who's going to move on in the playoffs too.
Yeah, remember last year, this is the Calamity Corner, the Tom's Corner, what you call it?
Heartburn turn.
Heartburn turn. And now the big thing is going to be the Applebee's parking lots, where they have to stop every time they run through these chicanes and serve their penalties. Okay, that's what it's going to be all about. And everything that goes on in the infield. It is a totally different racetrack. It is slick as glass. Joey Logano almost referred to it as drifting through the infield, like you see drift cars, and like we've seen in the movies Fast and Furious. It's about drifting through the infield, staying on the grass, staying on the black part, staying out of the grass, staying out of the wall, and finishing this race for a lot of people.
Well, last year showed us the lengths these drivers will go to for a win. It all came down to a final lap that will be remembered, well, for a long time. A win that looked to be Martin Truex Jr.'s wound up Ryan Blaney's instead. They both look back 1 year later.
3 laps to go from the Charlotte Roval.
I thought Martin Truex Jr. would drive away after that restart. Jimmy really doesn't have to win this race. He just needs to finish to be able to get into the next round, but he's going for the win.
How surprised were you to see Jimmy make that move on you to try to take the lead?
I was not surprised at all at him trying to take the lead.
1 lap left.
I felt like we come off the chicane.
Look, he's there. What a great corner.
And I knew I didn't get through as good as I needed to.
Jimmy Johnson now pulls to the bumper.
I knew Jimmy was close, and I was going to have to start to lift. And I'm like, okay, just don't let him get on your right side.
Now he goes to the inside.
So I kind of halfway gave him some room.
Here comes Jimmy Johnson.
Oh!
Locks the brakes up.
Oh, he's
and he's going to slide. He slides through the middle.
It was crazy that he spun and went across behind me.
Damn it. Truex gets tagged.
So no, I wasn't surprised it happened. I was surprised that he spun back across the track.
Jimmy trying to get down in that corner too hard. Wow.
And honestly, in that moment, I seen it happening. Like, I looked in my mirror, seeing him in the grass, coming towards the back of my car, and I'm like, if I go straight here, I think they're going to take the win from me. And I just tried to turn and get some of that curb. That's when he clipped me. So it's like, it was a crazy situation the way it happened, but I wasn't surprised, you know, at the move or what he did.
Ryan Blaney will win.
I've never had top 2 guys take each other out and us win the race in any form of my racing.
That was awesome. I hope you wrecked the son of a damn it.
Not the best way to win a race, but we worked hard all day to put ourselves there and took advantage of the opportunity. And yeah, that was a wild one.
But how about Ryan Blaney? Who knew?
Boys and girls. Got a little bit left there. Enjoy it.
Yeah, when they cleaned up this track last year, they had to pick up our jaws because they were wide open after that finish. Here you see some of the favorites to win today, according to the odds. Let's hear from one of those drivers there. Hi, Dave Burns.
Well, for Kyle Larson, a couple of top 10 finishes in round 1 have increased your points. You're up to 25 now. How safe is that here today at the Roval?
It's not that safe. We were 17 points above it last year and got 12 stage points and barely got in off the tiebreaker with getting lucky. So Definitely still got to go out there and get some stage points. Hopefully we can get it in the first stage, and we can be more aggressive throughout the last part of the race. So we'll see, but I feel like our Clover Chevy's been pretty good this weekend. Definitely a top 3 or 4 car, so we'll see how it goes. Just trying to make sure I get to the brake pedal before we get to turn 1 like we did, or like we didn't last year.
I was going to say the highlight reel was pretty spectacular to stick with, but you'd like a little less dramatic end to the race today, wouldn't you?
Definitely. Yes. We had the car to beat last year, so hopefully it's the same today, and we can just make less mistakes than we made last year, and hopefully get the win that we should have got last year.
All right, start 7th today. Let's check in with Marty.
Well, Ryan Newman's plus 14 above the cut line. Fantastic run in Richmond last week. Certainly helped that out. So how about the car today? And how do you manage today, Ryan? Do you want to know? I mean, you've been in this point situation for almost a month and a half, it seems.
Well, the driver's got to do his job of keeping the car there till the end, and then you still got to get it across the start-finish line. So just do what we can with our Performance Plus Ford. I don't think we have a standout car or a standout driver in this situation, but I think if we can play smart, we'll be in the right position at the right time. And thinking about big picture, I think that's kind of more our angle.
You guys have been fantastic at the points racing, as we mentioned. But the ROVAL as a cutoff race, how big of a challenge is that? Is it almost like a Talladega race as a cut race?
It doesn't matter. I mean, every race offers the same amount of points, and if this was the first or second or third race in that stage of playoffs, it would be the same. It's just now we get a different. I guess the chapter is the climax of the story is closer to the end of the book, I guess you could say. So we'll see. I mean, it's we saw last year that it was going to be a bit of a quiet race up until the last couple restarts. So try to have some fun with it.
Ryan and the 6 team have done a terrific job thus far. We'll see if they can advance their way into the next round.
Well, after a disappointing couple of weeks, Kurt Busch has 14 points to make up to advance to the next round of the playoffs. But, Kurt, no one would count you out, certainly not on a road course where you've been among the best in the business. But what will be your mindset? How closely will you be looking at where your competitors are running?
We have to do our deal and get stage points. Stage points are something we can make up for our little point deficit we're in, but just got to keep the car clean, just have a nice smooth race. We've had a fender rub, we got locked a couple laps down at Richmond. It's just been weird. So if we got a nice smooth race today, that'll be refreshing, and that should get the job done.
It seemed like Friday was a little bit frustrating. You didn't qualify where you'd like to, 23rd, but your crew chief told me much better in Saturday. How optimistic are you that you have the performance in the car today?
Yeah, the rear grip, I mean, it was like terrible loose. And I was on pole last year, and I went out there to kind of get settled, and I almost wrecked it 3 times just trying to get settled. So we really had to work on our Monster Energy Chevy. And I feel like we're in a spot now to run for stage points and to have a good finish. And that's where we got to stay clean. So thanks to Matt McCall, all my guys. And our biggest help today is going to be Tyler, the spotter, and my buddy J-Dog.
All right, Kurt Busch, 14 points to make up, but optimistic for the ROVAL.
Yeah, Dale, I like the confidence, but not a good qualifying position.
No, he's got a lot of things working against him, and he talks about those stage points. They've got a lot of work to make all of that happen, because I think Clint Boyer pointed it out early on in our show that caution's going to come out sometime in one of these stages that's going to make people have to look in a different direction as to what you do. So do they have the performance? Possibly. I think it's a very interesting balance today. Does the experience of Kurt Busch and Clint Boyer overcome the youth and those guys that might be in there right at the very bottom? It's going to be a nice battle to watch.
It's going to be interesting to watch Clint or watch Kurt, because he's got to make up ground. He's got to count on some other guys having some issues. He's depending on those stage points. When I look at Ryan Newman and at Kyle Larson, it was a great assessment. We've just got to do our job. Ryan Newman said it. I've just got to go out here. We've got to do our job. The pit crew has to do their job, but the driver has to do their job, and the car has to do its job. It has to hold up all day. If those guys do that, they'll be in.
Well, and some of these drivers are going to the rear. Drivers who need points. This is going to be wild, because this first stage, only 25 laps.
Yeah, and that's the key. And we say only 25 laps, and only 109 laps for the total race. That's a long afternoon here, because you have so many turns, so many shifts. You look at the opportunities more as to where mistakes can be made, and there are a lot of those out there.
Yeah, and let me say, if you're sitting at home watching this on TV, You need a runner to run back and forth to the kitchen to get you what you need, because you don't want to miss a single lap, because the strategy, when they pit, when they don't pit, who stays out, who gets stage points, who doesn't get stage points, it's going to be one of those races that you've got to pay attention the whole time. And when we get to that third stage and it's reset and it's man on man, that's when the race begins.
Ooh, one of these drivers will be in victory lane at the end of the day, but you can be a winner too by playing NASCAR Pick'em on the NBC Sports Predictor app. A $10,000 jackpot is up for grabs today. Here's how you can win. You download the Predictor app for free and you play NASCAR Pick'em. For each stage, pick the driver out of the 4 who will have the best finish. Then from the entire field, pick the drivers who will finish first, second, and third in that order. By the way, this is a progressive jackpot. If no one gets a perfect score, the money rolls over to the next race. Let's get Dale's Predictor picks for today.
Well, yeah, we've had some people do really well. That's why it's back at 10,000 because we've had some people really do this. When I look at this first grouping here, I think Brad Keselowski is my pick there. I think that he just does a good job of maneuvering it. Was in a position to win this last year, so I think he has a good first stage here.
What about stage 2?
Yeah, this one got a little bit more tough and looking at this, but I like the young man on the pole, William Byron. I think that Chad Knaus is going to set him up to get as many stage points as he possibly can. I'm counting on him in stage 2.
Okay, and do you have first, second, and third? Do you have your...
I do, yeah. Okay. A little bit of a different way that I'm going to go about this, but I know Martin Truex Jr. is the one that everybody looks at, but I think Chase Elliott gets road course win number 2 of the season. Brad Keselowski is going to be right there, and Kyle Larson is really, really good here. It was hard to pick between he and Chase to win this race, but that's my top 3.
Of course, the storyline, though, everyone's going to be watching. Which 4 drivers lead today out of the mix? Do you have do you know?
Listen, I've got my 4. My 4 are Eric Jones, Alex Bowman. I said stick a spork in him, okay? Eric Almirola, I did not want to pick Eric and I didn't want to pick Ryan, but I picked him when we first started into this. I didn't think they would make it through the first round, and I think they're going to struggle here today. So those are my 4 out, and you know what? I'm not as good at Dale in picking who wins races.
So Kyle thinks Kurt Busch and Clint Boyer make the jump.
Yes, I do think that. I do believe that.
All right, well, we'll be back after the race to see if Kyle was right. Here's what we do know. When the sun sets in Charlotte, 4 drivers will be out of the title fight. Speaking of fight, a handful of drivers could be in trouble. I mean, from backup cars after practice wrecks to backs against the wall in the standings. The other storyline, can Martin Truex Jr. sweep the round? It won't be easy, but if it was, it wouldn't be nearly as much fun. Elimination Sunday at the Hybrid Roval in NASCAR's backyard. You will see it next on NBC.